Hello everyone, welcome to Genius Tech. My name is Steven. I want to use this medium to appreciate those that are subscribed to my YouTube channel. I'm so grateful, thank you so much. And if this is your first time of getting to this channel, please don't forget to subscribe and don't forget as well to hit the notification button so that anytime I release interesting video like this, you'll be the first person to get a notification. So today what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be showing us how you can use Redis in Golang. So how you can use Redis to catch your data for a specific period of time to make the API request to be much more faster, right? So that you are not going to overload your database. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. I'm just going to be showing us a very simple and basic way of how you can make use of Redis in your Golang projects. All right, so okay, let's just get started, right? So if you have not yet installed Redis on your system locally, if you are using Mac, for example, you can just use Homebrew to install it, right? And then if you are using Windows, I think there are a lot of tutorials online that talk about how you can install Redis. So I'm not going to be walking us through how you can install it on your system, right? But what I just want to do today is to show us a practical way of how you can make use of Redis in your Golang projects. So let's get started. So first thing I want to do is to make a directory here. Before we start, I'm going to call it Redis. Let's call it Redis Golang. Redis Golang example. Okay, so we need to cd into this folder so that we can open it in our VS Code example. Okay, so let me create a main.go file, touch main.go file, and then let me open this in VS Code. All right, so I've opened this in my VS Code, and then we already have our main.go here. So what is the first thing we need to do is that, let's say package, what's going on there? Okay, package main, right? So okay, let me quickly do go mode in it here. Let me switch to fish terminal to make it much more easier for me. Okay, right, so I'm going to say that go mode in it, Redis Golang example. Okay, so let's go back to our VS Code. Okay, so we already have our package.main here. So the first thing we need to do is to import some couple of packages that we need for this application. So the first one is the Redis package. Let's say github .com/ that's going to be go Redis. That's the name of the package. Go Redis /Redis /v8. So we need to install this package. So I'm just going to run go get package, right, so that this package is going to be installed. So now the first we now need to do here is to we need to create a struct of a type product. So we just want to create a kind of a mock-up API that we can make a request to, so that we can see how these Redis work in our application, how you can use it to catch your data, right, in your Golang application. So we need to create a struct. So I'm going to create a type products, all right, which is struct. So this product is just like a product, right? So this product is going to have an ID, the name, and the price. So ID, so it's going to be of type int, and then let's say JSON here. So which is going to be ID. Yeah, so then we need a name for the products. So let's say string, and then JSON, let's call this one name, and then the price of that product, let's say price, which is going to be type int, and then JSON here, so we say price. Okay, so now the next thing we now need to do is for us to create a kind of a mock-up data, right? Let's put a comment here. I love to do this a lot. Mock-up db data. So just like something like it's going to look as if we are pulling from our database. So that is how this is going to look like. So look as if we are pulling from our database. So let's quickly create this mockup data. I'm going to say variable mockup. Okay, let's say mockup db, right? It's equals to let's say map, right? So it's supposed to be equals to map. So we need to create a map here. So which is going to be its products. Then here now we now need to create some kind of a mock-up data for our products here. So we're going to say one here, and then which is going to be ID. The ID, let's set this to 1. Then the name of the product, which is a string. Let's call this laptop. Okay, let's call this laptop, and then the price. We're trying to create a slicer of these products. So let's call this products. Let's just say $100, right? Okay. So the second one, just something similar to this, right? So here, let's call this one. Let's call this product smartphone. So smartphone. Let's say this is $50. Okay. So and then the last one is let's say this product. This should be 2, right? The product ID, right? And then let's say this should be 3. And then let's call this name of this product tablets. Okay, and then the price should be $30. So we've been able to create something like a mock-up DB for our products here, right? So the next thing we will know what to do is to initialize this Redis. Okay, so let's say Redis clients, Redis clients. So here we're going to say that variable RDB, right? That is Redis database. So I'm going to point to Redis clients here. It's a Redis okay dot clients, right? So this is what we need to do here. So the next thing we need to do is to initialize Redis. So I'm going to say function. Let's create a function. I will do that for us here. Let's say init Redis. Yeah. This is going to be taking. Okay. So let's come here. I'm going to say that RDB, right? RDB is equals to RDB is equals to Redis. Okay. Dot new clients. Redis dot new clients, and then we need to pass our connection. Well, we are trying to connect to Redis here, right? So I'm going to say Redis dot options. Okay, so then what is the server, right? The server address for Redis on our local system. So I'm going to say that local hosts. Okay, local hosts, and then what is the port? That should be 6396. I hope this is correct. So let's just try to serve the Redis server so that we can see the ports. Let's say Redis server. Okay, so it's running on port 6379. So let's copy this and then come here and put this here so that we can easily connect to our Redis. So and then the DB, let's say DB, let's say 0, right? So we're trying to connect. What we're trying to do is just to be for us to be able to connect with our Redis server. So the next thing we now need to do is to get products from DB, right? So let's quickly do that. Let's say get products from DB. So we want to get a product now. We want to create a function that is going to help us to retrieve our products, right, from the database, from our mockup DB. So once we pass a product ID, we'll be able to get the actual products that we created here, just like a mockup database that we created here. So now here we're going to say that get products by id, right? So yeah, so we just need to come here and say that we need to pass id, which is type int, and then we need to return two things there, the products, and then if we're able to retrieve it, either true or false, right? So those are the things we need to return there. We're going to say products, no, it should be products, because we're trying to create a variable, and then if, let's say products, and then if the product is not found, right? So we want to return, if the product is not found, then we want to return an error, right? That is if it is true. If we find that product, it's going to return true. If we don't find that product, it's going to return false. So that's what we're trying to do here. So we're going to say that mockup db, so we pass the id, right? This id that was passed here, and then what do we need to return? We need to return products, and then we need to return font. Yeah, so if you're able to find that products, we return the products, and then if it is true, then we return true, that we are able to find that particular product, right? So the next thing we now need to do is for us to be able to store that product in Redis. So our first API request we are going to call is going to be calling from this our mockup DB here, right? So just let's say in a real world scenario now, this mockup DB is going to be your database, right? This particular mockup DB here is going to be your database. So now the first API call we are going to call is going to be coming from our database. So in that process, we are saving that data. We are going to save that data in our Redis, right? So and then we give it an expiry time, maybe 5 minutes, 2 hours, depending on the number of time you want that particular data to spend in your Redis storage, right? So then the next subsequent calls that is going to be called using that API is going to be calling them from those things we are able to catch inside our Redis storage. Okay, so that's the next function we want to create now. We want to be able to save it to our Redis, right? Save to Redis. Okay, so let's create a function. So this function is going to be called catch. Let's call it catch products. So it's going to be taking a context, right? We're going to say context dot context, and then this is going to be taking the products too. It's going to take the products of type products. So if in case there is an issue, we want to return an error. Okay, so here now we need to do some couple of things there. So number one, we're going to say products JSON, okay, product JSON, and then the error in case when we are trying to save it our Redis. So in case if there's an error, so we first need to say JSON now. Let's matcha dots basha, then we pass the products here. Okay, then the next thing we now need to do here is to say in case if there's an error, if error is not equals to new, wants to return an error. Let's say return error. Okay, so we need to return. We're going to say return. We are trying to save into our Redis now. I'm going to say rdb.sets. Okay, so here we're going to say that okay, context here. Then I'm going to fmtp.sprintf. So I'm going to say products. And then we put a placeholder here, d, of an integer, right? So we're going to say products.id, and right here we're going to say products.json. So the number of, we need to specify the number of time this particular data is going to stay inside our Redis. So we are using the product ID to be for us to be able to identify that particular product. Okay, so I'm going to say that, let's say 5 minutes, just for the sake of this tutorial. It's going to be time, right? No, it should be time dots minutes. Okay, dots. I'm going to say error here. So yeah, that's all we need to do here. Okay, what we're trying to do is to save, to cache that particular product in our Redis storage, right? So the next thing we now need to do, we now need to create a function that can help us to get that product, right, that will save inside our Redis storage. Okay, so we're going to say that, let's put a comment here. Let's say get products from Redis. Okay, so let's just create a function here. I call it get products cached. Okay, so this is going to be taking another. Well, let's specify context. You're going to say context, context dot context, and then we have to specify the ID here. Okay, we're going to say ID, which is type int, and then we want to return two things, right? The products that wants to try to get, and then I want to get the products, and then I want to get return an error in case if there is an issue where we are trying to retrieve that particular product. So that's a variable here, products. Okay, so here we now need to do some couple of things. We're going to say products JSON, right, and then error. So I'm going to say rdb dots. That should be rdb dots gets, if that's correct. Yeah, rdb dots gets. Yeah, that's there. So then the key is the product ID, right? So the key is the product ID. I'm going to say fmtp dot sprint elf. So I'm going to say products. Then let's use a placeholder here, D, right, which is going to be the product ID. Okay, so which is going to be the product ID. We're going to say that is it the product ID or this ID here? Yeah, it should be this ID. This ID that we're trying to pass, because this ID should be the product ID. Okay, so here now we're going to say that I'm going to say that dot results. Okay, when you say dot results, I hope not enough arguments to call products. Okay, so yeah, there should be something like context here. Yeah, so here we now need to do two things. We need to return the products, right? So if error, okay, if error is equals to redis.new, that is if you are unable to get this particular product, right? So we're going to say that return products. We're going to say return products, and then fcmp the sprint elf. Okay, so then I'm going to say that products not found in cache. So let's return that products not found, product not found in cache. Okay, so this should be error. Yeah, so here now we now need to, if we are able to get the product, we need to return the product. So now that we need to do it against the s. Okay, if error is not equals to mu, so we want to return the product and error. So product error. Okay, so what's the next thing we now need to do here? We're going to say that error now is equals to, let's say, JSON dots on matcher. Okay, so I'm going to say that bytes. Okay, you can say bytes product JSON, and then we want to say products. Okay, so and then we now need to return products and then error. So this is what we need to do for us to be able to get our products that will save in the cache. So here what we're trying to do is that we declare a variable of this type products, that is the struct we created earlier, and then here now we are trying to get that particular product by the ID, because this ID is the key of this the product ID is the key when we are trying to save inside our Redis here. So you can see, so the product ID is the key. So once the product ID is passed, we can easily get the products. So here at this point we are returning the products back. So that's all we need to do. So now let's now create the product handler, right, for our API. So for us to be able to, anytime we make a request, right, so this handler is going to be able to fetch that particular product. So let's quickly do that. Let's say create products HTTP handler. Okay, so let's say here func here. So I'm going to call this func. Let's say get products handler. Okay, so this guy is going to be taking two things. So it's going to be taking the HTTP response here, and then the HTTP.request response writer here. So let me import this HTTP.net here. So what's the first thing we need to do is that we're going to say that since context is equals to is a variable, right? So I'm going to say context dot background. Okay, so then the next thing we're now going to do is as variable. Yeah, we need to get, because we're going to pass in the product ID, right, as a query params. So we now need to be able to get that product ID, right? I'm going to say variable here is equals to I'm going to say mux.variable. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to pass we're going to pass this arrow here. So the next thing we need to do is to say that ID error. Okay, ID error is a string. We need to convert it to we need to convert, because it's going to be coming like a string, right? So we need to convert it to integer. So I'm going to say let me see, is it it, it takes string, yeah. So this guy is going to return two things, error and then the ID. So let's pass the variable here. I'm going to say variables, then no, I'm going to say variables, then we pass in the ID here. So that's correct. So this should be a string. Okay, so if error, that's if there's an issue where we are trying to pass this ID, right, we want to return an error. So what's error we want to return? Let's just say that return HTTP. Okay, let's say HTTP dot error, HTTP dot error. Okay, so I'm going to say this response writer here. I'm going to say that invalid product ID. Okay, so invalid product ID. Then what is the status code? Should be HTTP dot status bad request dot status bad request. Yeah, so in case if there is an issue where we are trying to pass this particular product, right? So here we're going to put return here. So we are returning this error. So the next thing we need to do is for us to try to get the product from the cache. So that's the next thing, try to get products from the cache. Okay, try to get the product from the cache. So that's the next thing we need to do here. So here I'm going to say that don't forget that we already created a function here, this get product cache, for us to be able to get our cached products, right, from the from REDIS. So here I'm just going to say products here, then error. Okay, so products here, I'm going to say error is equals to get products from the cache. So which is taking two things, it's taking the context, and then the ID of the products. So here I'm going to say if error, I'm going to say if error is equals to nil, right? So I'm going to come here and then return up. I'm going to say log.print, yeah. So I'm going to say log.print here, and then I'm going to say let's use print line here, yeah. So I'm going to say serving, for us to be able to know that where this product is coming from REDIS, serving from REDIS cache. Okay, so and then from our header we want to specify it that this product is coming from REDIS. We're going to say REDIS header, right? I'm going to say dot set. So I'm going to say here that x catch, so s catch source, so it's from REDIS. I'm going to say REDIS, right? So and then so what's the next thing we need to do? from Redis. So the next thing we now need to do is to say that w.header.sets okay, the content type should be application JSON. That is the content, the type of the content we want to return is a JSON content. So I'm going to say here JSON dot new should be JSON dot new encoder, right? w.here.encode. So I want to return the products. Okay, products here, we put return here, return. Okay, so here we are trying to get the products, right? So now the next thing we now need to do is to, if the product is not found in catch, if let's put a comment here, if products not found in catch. Okay, so if the product is not found in cache, so what do we need to do? I'm going to say that products, okay, if the product is not found in cache, so we need to get from our database, right? So we're going to say product here, I'm going to say found, we want to declare these two variables here. So we're going to say get products by ID. Don't forget we already created that function here. So, and it's returning the product, and then it's returning the type product, the struct we created, and then a boolean. Okay, so here we're going to pass the ID. So if not found, okay, if the product not found, if not found, so we need to say that here http dot error. Okay, so puts in a response writer here. Here we're going to say that products not found. Okay, so and then we're going to say http the status, that should be status not found, like 404. Yeah, is it? Let's see. Yeah, 404 status not found. So that's correct. So yeah, we are now going to, if you are unable to find the products, so we want to return this products not found, and then returned. Okay, so the next thing we now need to do is okay, so here we are trying to get the products here. So the next thing we now want to do is that we want to catch the products, right, for future requests. So here we're going to say that catch products for future requests. Okay, so here now the next thing we now need to do here is that we are going to say that if error, okay, is equals to catch products, so it's going to be taking the context here and then the product itself. So and then we're going to say here if error is not equals to new. Okay, so if error is not equals to new, we are going to log, let's log prints something into our console. We're going to say failed to catch products, okay, and then yeah, so then the next thing we now need to do is that to return that product from our DB. So I'm going to say that log, let's log something, products log dot print. So that should be log dot print. Okay, so we're going to say serving, for us to be able to know that this is coming from our database, serving from database. Okay, so and then we're going to say that w.elder.set the content type, look, dot set, yeah, so dot set, we're going to say content type, type. So let's change this to capital A, content type. Okay, so here content type, we're going to say application, should be a string application. Okay, application slash JSON. So here we now need to say JSON dot encoder, right? It's just something we did here. So we put in our response, our HTTP response writer there. So here we're going to say that encode Let me see. Does new this should be new encoder. Okay, that's encode products. Okay, so products. So yeah, this is all we need to do here. So this particular function here is the one handling our API request. So anytime we make an API request and then we pass in this ID here, so the first thing we're going to do is that we will try to see to get that product from our cache, right? If it's there, right? So if it's not there, what we now need to do is to get that product from our database. So that's what we're trying to do here. So and then if we are getting the product from our database, we need to save that product into our cache, right? So that by the time we are making another request, it's going to be coming from the from our cache, from the Redis, right? So that's what we're trying to do here. So let's create our main here so that we can serve the project. Let's say func main here. So what do we need to do here? We need to call the init Redis here, and then we're going to say defer. Okay, we're going to say rdb close. Okay. Yeah. So here we're going to say that r here is equals to mux dot new router. So we need now to create that handler, right? So we're going to say r dot undo. I'm not suggesting that r should be r dot. Let's see what's going on. Okay, I need to install this Gorilla Mux here. So let's do that. But I don't know why this is here. I don't need this package. So why is it bringing that? So here we're going to say r dot undo func. Okay, r dot undo func. Here we're going to say products. So this is going to be our endpoint, right? So we're going to say products. Then we pass in the ID of that products. So then what do we now need to do? I'm going to say get products handler. So yeah, the method is going to be get method. It's a method. Yeah, it's going to be get. Okay. So and then let's start the server. Start server. Okay, we're going to say here that log dot print line. So I say server starting on port 8080. Okay, server starting on port 8080. So I'm going to say here that if error goes to http dot listen and serve. Okay, so we're going to specify the port here, which is 8080. So we want to listen to this project on port 8080. So here we'll put this r here, and then we're going to say r error. Okay, if error is not equals to nil. Okay, if error is not equals to nil, so wants to return an error. Let's say log dot fatal, right? Let's say fatal. Yeah, so we're going to say could not. Okay, so could not start server. So could not start server, and then let's specify the error here. Error. So yeah, basically this is all we need to do. So let me just quickly go over this before we test if everything is working fine. Here we create, the first thing we need to do is that we created a product struct, right, which has an ID, the name and price. So the next thing we now did was that we created like a kind of mock-up database, right, so that we can be able to make a request, right? Anytime we pass an ID, we'll be able to get this particular product here. So here we are trying to connect to our Redis server locally. Okay, so this function here is what helping us to get our products. Is just doing two things: returning the product and then returning a boolean, true or false, if the product is found. So don't forget that this ID here is just trying to get the ID of this product here. So here, the next we try to do is that to cache that product, right? We try to save the product inside our Redis. So yeah, and then here is our get product handler. That is the handler, the function helping us to, retrieve the product from our Redis if it's there. If it's not, we are getting the product from our DB. So let's try to serve this and see if everything is okay. So let me just create a new terminal here. Okay, so that we can serve our project. Let's say go run main. So let's see. Yeah, server started on port 8080. So this is good. So let's just try to make an API request here. So I have an extension here called Thunder Client. So I'm just going to use that to make this API request here. So let's change this to 8080, and then let me see the API. Okay, products. Okay, it should be products and then the ID. So let's come here. See products slash. Let's say we want to get the first one, right? So let's click on send here. So you see we are able to get this product, the ID, the laptop, and then the price. So but let's see where this request is coming from. Let's see our log. So you can see that it's saying that serving from database. So this product is serving from the database. So now let's try to make another API request, right? And then let's see if it's going to be coming from our Redis. So if I send this now, you see it's very, very fast. So when I come here, I see that it's serving from our Redis cache. So it's working perfectly. So any subsequent API request in the next 5 minutes I'm going to be making, so it's going to be coming from this our Redis cache. So let me go back again and run it again. If I click send, so we're going to see that it's coming from serving from our Redis cache. So basically this is how you can just use Redis in your Golang package, right? Anytime you want to, let's say you want to build a product or you want to build a faster application, so this is how you can make use of Redis to catch that particular data first, and then the subsequent request I'm going to be making is going to be coming from that Redis. So depending on the amount of time you specified here, that's the amount of time it's going to take for it to be able to stay in that Redis cache. So if you have any question, simply drop your question in the comment section. So if you are really excited about this tutorial, don't forget to hit the like button, and then if you've not yet subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. Thank you so much for taking your time to watch. Bye. See you guys in my next video.